Oh, excuse me. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live stream edition of the Melanated Council. I am your host for the evening. Ron, I know it's been a while. It's been a long minute, but I'm here again. No camera. Still working on that one. But anyways, typically we go live Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and wherever else you're at in the world, you can catch us live on there. As always, please like, enjoy, subscribe, comment, let us know that you're here in the chat, and have a good time, have a good conversation. So, man, and like I said, it's been a long while. It almost seems like it's been like, I don't know, like 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks since I was on the live stream. Um, mm, just to kind of give everybody like an update on my end. Um, been, mm, mm, sorry, been busy with track and field. Both um, my oldest son and daughter, they're both running track at the same time this season, and going back and forth between track meets and traveling over the road. It has put a big stress on my body, and I think last week Tuesday that that pretty much did the ticket. I came home and passed out in my bed, just passed out, just because my body was like, "Hey, dude, you need some rest. We need to recharge. We need to recuperate." So this last week Tuesday, of course, told Ellie told me what was going on. Hey, hey, yo, what's up? What's happening, Rocky? Yerp. Here we go. Yerp. We all up in here. The gang's all here. Well, slowly the gang's all here. Um, no, my camera for whatever reason decided to take a crap on me, and so I got to get the new one. Actually, I found the new one. Hey, Chad, what's happening? Yep, we are slowly coming in. Slowly coming in. So, as I was saying before, my camera it finally took a dump on me. I mean, I had it for sheesh. I've had it since we started this channel. Yeah, I've had it for about 3, 4 years. Yeah, I've had that camera for 3, 4 years, but even then, that camera was given to me from somebody else. Shout out to James Ellers. He's the one who sent me the camera. It's been working phenomenal. It's been working like a champ. And again, like just now, it decided to take a dump. So and I'm okay with that because it was already used. He already had upgraded it, and me and him we were talking as far as getting set up for streaming, and it was one of the first cameras he used. And so when he got upgraded, he sent me his old one, which again, like I said, it worked like a charm. It worked like a charm. So again, big shout out to James Ellers. Don't, if you guys haven't followed him on Twitter, he's pretty much the person who helped us to get us going. He was one of the first people to actually give us a platform on the Melanated Council for the Melanated Council. Ooh, who is this? Oh, okay, all right. Hey, yo, what's happening? I will see you when I see you. Yes, Chad, Rocky, Big Toby. Woo woo. I know. Like when I say the gang is all here, the gang is all here. Like I love it. I love it. I know. Rest in peace, camera. I know. Rest in peace, camera. And again, like I said, the camera it served its purpose. It served its purpose, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do. And I loved it for that fact of the matter. I loved it. And so, and even then, before my camera died, I was already thinking about upgrading my camera as it is. Anyways, just to kind of have something a bit more up to date, if you would to say. So I was already mentally preparing to buy me a new webcam, just due to the fact that even though yes, I do have my ring light is phenomenal, and it has like an attachment where I can screw in the camera and whatnot, which works. And so, like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I want to get a nicer camera, and just be able to use it and have fun with it, you know. So that's going to be my goal for month for myself, actually, to buy a new webcam and get it going and get it set up, just so I can have it. Let's see what else has been going on. Oh, so I will be coaching Rocket football again. I will be coaching Rocket football. Now, as far as what grade level, I have no idea what grade level. I talked to the let's see the organizer. I talked to the organizer because his son and my oldest son, they're both on the same track team, and he was letting me know that the new volleyball coach for the high school level wants to meet all the coaches league up until middle school and even the junior varsity and freshman football coaches, just so we could all be on the same page, do all the same plays. And the idea is start implementing the plays on the Rocket League level or the Rocket Football League level. And then as they get older and getting more experience, they're going to still run the same plays. So by the time they hit high school, they're already running the same play. They already know what they need to do. And the only thing they're really doing is getting better at those plays and becoming sharper. So by the time varsity or junior varsity, they're going to be phenomenal. They're going to be phenomenal. And so the concept that the new varsity head coach said was, here's what we're going to do. What we're going to do is the varsity players, they're going to come out to the games and see how the little kids are running the plays. And so once that happens, they get an idea of, how to help coach, how to help the players get developed, and, get them little points here and there, and teach them, how to run the plays more efficiently. And then on Fridays when the varsity is playing or JV is playing, then all of the kids, all the teams that are playing Rocket football, they're to be able to come to the high school games and actually see those plays being ran real time at a very high pace, high speed. And so he had mentioned that one of our rival schools, that's what they've done for years, which is the reason why they've always gone to the playoffs. And even then, they've always been able to, get to the point where if they were able to go to state and actually win state. And so that was the same concept. It was like, they started them off young and pretty much just continue to build up and up and up and up. So by the time they're in high school, they already know the plays, they already know what they need to do. By the time they're in high school, they're just fine tuning a lot of things. They're just fine tuning everything else and still are able to kick butt and take names. And so I'm like, cool, I can't wait to meet this guy because he sounds smart and everything else. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait. So that's been me again. Track season is typically my busy season, but with again, like I said before, with my son and daughter, they're both running track. One's of course in high school, the other was in middle school, and they both of them have track meets. Throughout the whole week. My schedule has been a little bit more chaotic, has been a little bit more hectic. I know today, we kind of took a short break because my son, he had a slight tear in his hamstring. And for anybody who's played sports, whether it's football, basketball, soccer, baseball, you know that your hamstring is very important, very important. And so his coach, he showed me a video of what happened just to kind of give me some clarification. And of course, my son, he was getting ready to go get the baton. He takes off. As soon as he grabs the baton, probably like 3, 4 steps afterwards, he grabs his hamstring, his right hamstring, and then just falls down. I'm like, ooh, that don't look good. So later on that evening, the missus took him to the ER to kind of get everything figured out what's going on, and that's when they came back when they were saying the ER doctor said that yeah, seems like as though he has a slight tear in his hamstring, so he's pretty much going to be off for the next couple of weeks. So he's going to miss like 2 weeks of track right now, and even then, a lot of his teammates are bummed out because he's one of the fastest on the team. He does a lot of the relay races and he pretty much holds it down on the relay teams. And so it's kudos to him. And again, just to kind of give you guys a heads up of like what kind of events he does. My son, he runs the 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, the 4x1, and the 4x2. So again, he's a sprinter. He's a sprinter, and he's actually really good at what he does. And with him being a sprinter, of course, it does have a lot of wear and tear in him. But he's like, I can do it. And so we're proud of him. We're just super proud of him that he's actually um, mindful to kind of take it easy and not to jump back into the season. And even then, he was talking. He's like, yeah, he's like, I don't want to rush my recovery. I want to take my time, even if it means I have to miss the rest of this season. He's like, I'm okay with that. He said because even if I were to go back in, and try to run, there's a possibility that I could do more damage to myself at one of the meets. And that could ruin not only my track career for right now, but it could also roll into my football career. He was like, I want to play football. Like I talked to the varsity coach and I'm already going to be playing on varsity. I'm like, good. Like that's good. That's very good. So again, he's made it to the varsity team and just I'm just ready for him to do what he does best, which is have fun, kick butt, take names. So the varsity coach likes him. The new varsity coach, I should say, the new varsity coach likes him. So we're going to see some big things coming this year, going to the next year, and everything else. So that's pretty much me. I got caught up on my end, and let's see, chat. For those that are in the chat, yes, this is so true. It's all about having fun. Yes, it's all about having fun. It's all about having fun. And his main thing for him is he really wants to take a shot at both the 100-meter dash high school record and the 200-meter dash high school record. He wants to take a shot at those. And so even if he doesn't hit it this year, that's okay. And I told him, like, dude, listen, I know you want to place, that's all fine and dandy, but run for time because your time is going to get your placement. Your time is going to get your placement because no matter what you do, sure, you could be the fastest guy in your heat, but if another guy in a lesser heat has a faster time than you know, you're not going to be able to place. So keep that in mind. It's all about racing against time. It's all about racing against time. It's all made it the emphasis to pretty much stretch out, give your body warmed up so when you do start your race, you're not starting your race cold, but you're starting your race warm, loose, limber, and ready to go. And then again, like I thought, like, dude, I ran track, so I know what I'm talking about. And I've stretched. I had my fastest time was during the cold because my body was warm, my body was loose, my body was limber, and I. All right, my bad, y'all. It's get a little wonky here. So Here's what I'm gonna do. Before I go back out again, I am getting ready to introduce our next lovely host. And then again, like I said, chat, I didn't forget about you guys. Jot down in the chat how your weekend was, how your week has been going so far. Just kind of giving a virtual roundtable, virtual mental health check in. Because again, just as much as you guys are coming in to check us out, we still want to make sure that you guys are okay as well. So type in the chat, like, what you guys do this weekend, how the week has been going so far, what happened last week, things of that sort. So go ahead and type that in. And I am going to get ready to introduce our next host. If I could get my brain to work right. Okay. So here we go. So coming to the stage, I have this lovely person, and she is I have this lovely person. She is phenomenal, and there's just so much I could say about her. And even then, that's only hitting the tip of the iceberg. That's only hitting the tip of the iceberg. So here we go. We got that going on. So what can I say about her? She is funny in her own right. She is a wonderful stand up comedian. Even if she doesn't believe it herself, she is a wonderful stand up comedian. She is very thought provoking. She has a lot of wit to her. She also makes you think outside the box. And she also she's also a gamer. She's also a person who likes anime, and she also likes cars. You know, really likes cars. So because of the fact she's so well rounded and because she is so phenomenal, she is a lovely person to be around. I've hung around her once, and I'm like, you know what? I could do this all over again because it was just that sweet. And if there's ever another opportunity to meet this person or to meet her in person, yep, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And so, without further ado, I am going to bring in the one, the only, the heartbreaker, the I don't know what else can I say about her, chat. What else can I say about her? She has a lovely smile. So the heartbreaker with the loveliest smile who will meet you at a coffee shop and says, "Hey, can you watch my laptop? Let me go to the bathroom." To a complete total stranger. That's the person who we love and enjoy. Please give a round of applause to the one and only L.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Man, oh, it feels like it's been so long since Ron has introduced me.
I'm telling you, it's been a minute.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no, of course, thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome.
So I actually have some really good news. Well, I also do have my own podcast, the Agreeable Gray Area Podcast, and I know
Mhm.
it's been on like a little bit of a pause, and that's 100% my fault because I am the only person on the podcast. Um, but Saturday, I was not the only person on the podcast. I actually interviewed the amazing Gil here. Oh, that's Chad now, but before that was Gil. And yeah, so like he and I had like a really awesome long interview. So I wanted to edit it like Sunday and Monday, but I had no time to get around to it. But yeah, so that should be coming out definitely before the end of the month. Gil, not Gil. Well, that's hilarious. But yeah. Elle is the one who knocks. But yeah, so definitely look out for that. It was really fun. It was really awesome. Like I've it's really easy to just like slip back and do nothing, but I was really happy that Gil and I were just like, all right, let's do this. Let's just get this done. Because we kept like scheduling and things, life happens, so you gotta sometimes have to take care of things and push things back. But
Mhm.
I was really happy that we got that going. I actually used both ports of the Focusrite here. So right now only one is plugged in. You see like like the light going to indicate that noise is happening, which was really helpful because we did not know what was going on because I use Adobe Audition and it was just not telling me what I need to do. and, and yeah, it was, but we got it working. It was just a good old fashioned, press a bunch of buttons and see what works. My podcast, yeah, I know. I really got to sit down and actually like and edit it. But like, as God is my witness, I am going to have it out before the end of the month. Whereas 5 more days left of the month, it will be out this month of April. So software, tell me what to do, right? Oh my gosh. Like I was like, when you hover over things and then like a little like text shows up to tell you like what it is. Like we were hovering over everything and the thing that we needed didn't say. So we just clicked it anyway and it was working. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? Like, how was I supposed to know that the letter R meant I don't know. I don't it didn't tell me what the letter R meant. You're probably gonna say like, oh, it means record. It's like, I don't think so. I don't think the letter R in that sense meant record, but I gotta go look it up. Adobe Audition is like a massive program and but it's fun to learn though. Do it for future Helen, future Gil. Yes. It's like Adobe Audition is just way above. Like it's like Adobe Audition for my podcast is like giving, like teaching a 15-year-old how to drive with like a Lamborghini. It's like you don't have like an easier car. Like that's gonna be really hard for this kid and terrifying. But yeah, but it was cool. It was a lot of fun. Oh, yeah, just start using one of those AI editors to easier. Yeah. Um, I did use Alphonic to help edit my last podcast episode. Like I use Alphonic courtesy of Gil. Thank you so much, Gil. And it was interesting, because I was just like, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm just gonna upload. I was like tossing my baby into like this program and like, all right, here you go. Let's see. I don't know what you're supposed to do, but I'm gonna try it out because why not? But it was good. Like it definitely like it helped with the audio quality for sure. And there's also another program called like that's free from Adobe, like podcast.adobe.com, I think. So I might try that either for this podcast or next podcast episode because I have like the topic that I want to talk about for my next episode, I guess like after Gills, and like because it's like a lot of this is a lot of fun. It's also like a really fun learning process, and what better way to learn than to actually like use the programs and use the things. So that's what I'm gonna try and do. I'm thinking for season 3, I'm actually going to start incorporating video, which is going to be terrifying. I know it's ironic because I'm on video every Tuesday night, but this is like a live stream. It's kind of like all right, this is it. It goes out. I don't have to really edit anything. But to actually like sit down and like edit video and make sure that like the audio matches with the video and make sure I'm looking good and to actually like mass produce. I feel like mass producing is like an exaggeration, but to actually put it on different channels like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't really want to use TikTok. I feel like TikTok is terrifying, but YouTube for sure. I don't know. It's gonna be scary, but there's so much content out there. So the chances of me blowing up, I feel like is kind of slim to none. Sure, like, I don't know how it works. I just know that it makes my pockets hot like I want. If you have the microwave that actually makes your pockets hot like you want it, then you're lucky because I know that hot pockets take 2 minutes and the exact middle is like always frozen. Like I haven't had a hot pocket in like over a decade, but I don't know. If you have the magic microwave, I find it aggravating how microwaves still don't warm up your food properly. Like complete like microwaves have been around since what like the 50s and like like they still can't like warm up your food like properly. Or maybe I just suck at microwaves, like I don't mind taking the L. Like it's kind of in my name. But yeah. But yeah, no, that was definitely like a big highlight of my weekend and I don't know, just went swimming as I usually do. I went for a jog, which I haven't done in like a very long time. Like actually like jogged a whole mile, which was great. I've just been slacking on working out. Hey, Mish. Yay, the emoji worked.
Hey, Mish.
Hey. And yeah, what else did I do? Like that was pretty much like the big stuff. My physical therapist is saying that, like my shoulder is healing well. I ended up
Nice.
telling him about like other pains that I have and it's like the sucky part is like I don't know if it's like I stopped like you feel pain so you stop working out but then more pain occurs because you stopped working out and it's just like a never ending battle. It's like okay, so I just have to do this all the time. It's like I have to feel the right kind of pain, if not I'll feel like worrisome pain that will cause issues in the future. So like I kind of stopped working out and my hip like my right hip it's always been kind of like tight, but it's like getting like kind of worse and like my knee is like starting to get kind of worse and so I'm like okay, let me go so I'm already seeing a physical therapist, so I might as well ask him about that. But I don't know what he's going to do because he's already like massages my shoulder and like has me do exercise and then stretches out my shoulder and things like that. But if he's gonna like massage my hip, I'm kind of afraid because I'm really ticklish. so, so like I'm like really nervous about that. Like, oh no. Like I'm just gonna be like dying laughing.
It's like, what's wrong with you? Like, don't. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's just me. I'm very ticklish in that area.
You're
Oh, say
right.
less.
Just like relax. I can't relax. Oh man.
Oh man.
But if I have to endure that, but it's also like learning what to do, you know, especially for my shoulder, because I've had the shoulder pain on and off for years. So like it's good to know for like future reference. It's like, okay, I just can't let my back get weak and like my shoulder get weak. I gotta like definitely work on like my mid back area and like, shoulder area. And I'm also learning a lot about the shoulder. Like, this is going to sound naive of me, but I'm out here thinking like, oh, this is my shoulder. But like, no, the shoulder is like huge. Like when you buy like shoulder meat from like, like you buy like a lamb shoulder, and I think they have like pig shoulder, pork shoulder. It's a big piece. So I don't know what the heck I'm thinking like, oh, the shoulder right here. I just felt so naive, but whatever. That's the notes to destroy hell. That was ticklish. Yeah. You have a massage gun and heavy duty I do have a massage gun. Yeah, I don't use it often, but I do have a massage gun. I've used it before, and it felt really good. You fool! It did feel really good, but it was ticklish too. Like it was like painful and ticklish. It wasn't a, but that's how these massage guns are. Like if you like, I have a foam roller as well. Like these things were so painful. I don't know why, because it's called a foam roller, so you don't really think it's gonna hurt, but it hurts. But they are helpful though. I really should get on that. That's true. Use my massage gun. But yeah, no, I'm definitely ready to like start going back into the gym and really just hitting it, like because I've been slacking for like well over a month, probably like almost 2 months now. But whatever, it happens. Like I do feel as though like from like seeing everything and like now that I have like the knowledge of like what causes me to like feel depressed, what causes like the pain, and then like when the pain comes and you don't want to do anything, that just gets you more depressed. So it's like in order to prevent that from happening, that roller coaster or that that downfall, that down spiral, it's like I gotta work out. He says I know, like I know, like the back of my shoulder. That's true. Yeah, so that's pretty much it with me. Can't wait until my shoulder is completely healed so I can actually start swimming for real. Because nice. I'm still just using the kickboard. Like if I do like a full stroke, like it's like, I feel the pain. It's like, this isn't good. But I've been learning that I don't know for how long, but like utilizing like my trap muscle here, and it's like kind of tightening up to like compensate for like my shoulder weakness. So that's kind of also what's happening with the shoulder pain. And like and I've been noticing it for like the most random of things. Like it doesn't happen on this side at all, but like if I'm lifting up like a pot or something, like I feel like my trap muscle also activate too. It's like, no, like sit down. I really have to just like,
wow.
Yeah, I gotta like practice this really like using just my shoulder. And it's weird because I'm not doing that consciously. It's like really just like an unconscious thing. So my physical therapist even noticed me doing that. It's like, yeah, when you're doing the workouts, like you tend to do this. I was like, yeah, I know. Like, stop, leave me alone. You gotta point it out. Full body. Yeah, right.
I love it.
What is this? I gotta Hitachi it. Did you know you can use the sore muscles? Yes, I did. It really helps loosen things. It can really help loosen things out for sure. Yeah, that's no bueno. No legs. The stroke game's gotta be.
Oh Okay, Rocky, that can be taken two different ways. We're gonna go with swimming.
Oh my gosh. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
I can't. I.
Why am I paying you to hurt me? That's what it feels like sometimes, though. Like when he's massaging my shoulder, like put like pressing like pressure points. I'm like, it'll be like in my armpit. I'm like, what are you even touching? And why does it hurt so bad? Like, I just feel like a failure. I'm like, I really just made my shoulder like fail, and I don't know how. It's like, why are you like? How do you know that there's like a thing in my armpit, like deep in my armpit? He's like pressing and like holding my arm and like, like shaking it and moving it. He's like, yeah, I'm stretching it out, I'm loosening it out. I'm like, it's wild. But it's like also just really amazing how how someone could just know the body and know the muscles and what connects to what and like how it affects you and like the pain you're feeling, and it's crazy, it's wild. But do you know who is also wild, Ron?
Come on, who is also wild? Tell
Well,
me.
this man is so wild. He had a giant pet fridge once upon a time. He had a giant fridge as a pet that just hung out and intimidated the viewers right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a staple in the Melanated Council lore, the Melanated Council storyline, that I almost tried to create a fridge, at least like a fridge, like pencil sketch in our logo. And it's kind of like what inspired, the straight lines here. So, without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, he's here, you know, fortunately for you all, because if he was not here, he would be stealing your girl. So, without further ado, let's introduce the one, the only, Toby.
Hello.
Toby.
What is going on? What is happening? Sorry, I realize I still have this in my ear. I was listening to the stream before I got on, but it's like coming from three different places, which is very disorienting. Okay, let me pause this one until it's not in my ear anymore. How are you all doing? What's going on, everybody? What the F is happening? L, Dron, and Toby's fridge. I can't even show you the new fridge because it's an awkward angle, but I am in my living room, which is kind of working out today.
Yeah, the lighting's nice.
Thank you. Yeah, no, this is definitely good light. Much better than some past lights. That was supposed to happen. Yeah, today I did a lot of deep cleaning. My entire kitchen is basically done, which is great. I just need to do the microwave and the oven. The oven shouldn't be that bad though. The microwave is pretty easy too. But the fridge and freezer are done, which is so wonderful. I love my good friend Catherine.
Wait, you have to like clean it out, you mean? Or are you taking it?
No, cleaning out. Like this is fridge that came with the apartment. It's just that I needed to like make sure I'm trying to get everything cleaned over the week. As much as I can, so it won't be like the day of getting out where I have to do everything. Nothing like a good stroke. I'm dead. I don't even know where the stroke thing started.
Talking about swimming.
What's a bad stroke? Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Oh man. What?
Yeah. We got jokes today. And we got time.
Lots of jokes and lots of time. Amazing. All right, that's good. That's going on there. But yeah, so things are shaping up. I feel relatively calm given everything going on in terms of like getting out of here and stuff. So I feel like I've gotten a good amount of help and stuff that's gonna help. Like there's still some important things I need to take care of for sure. But it's all coming together. I just need to make sure all the stuff I have left over will fit easily into my car. And my dad, who's going to help me drive down, because he'll be here in Rhode Island for a conference. So I'm like, okay, all right. He's going to have a few things. I'm going to have a bunch of things. A passenger seat's going to be being used. So let's try to make sure it all fits. Which I need to actually kind of like start checking. I can even just start to like play around with it and making sure everything I have will fit, but I haven't quite gotten to that point. But yeah, life is good. Life is good.
I'm sorry, I just realized the name of the episode. Now this sounds so bad. Like, because I knew we were talking about guns, so like, I see the titles like uncomfortable conversation with special guests. I'm like, what? And I looked at it and YouTube's like guns. Like, oh, okay. I was like, we were gonna have a guest on. I was like, wait, what? I'm like, I was like, I did, like, Ron did a gun pun. I did a gun pun. Toby did a gun pun. I was like, well, we're having a special. What? Like, what is happening? I was so confused.
Well,
It's just weird. It's like, what? That's hilarious. I love it.
Well, yeah, and even then, the way how my brain curated the titles, it was more so for like attention grabbing. Like, wait, there's a special guest. Like, who's going to be on there? Who's going to be on there? Like, really? And even then, with my camera not here, I can't show mine. But I don't think that's going to be a good idea, anyways. So, yeah, not going to do that on live stream. No, not at all. Don't want to give people the wrong idea. However, yes. Oh man, I mean, we're kind of like big time, but not that big time. So it could happen. You never know.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I was like, gunplay the who?
I was like, let me quickly. It's like I wanted to highlight the comment, but let me quickly correct it.
Just so you guys know.
Oh my
Right.
god!
Let's not try to start rumors now.
Oh, right. Like, please. With chat. I mean, you're not wrong.
It does sound like a kink, though.
You're not wrong. Not even gonna go there, but you're not wrong.
Yeah. I don't think I've heard of them. I looked them up, but I was like,
Emphasis on rappers. Emphasis on rappers. Oh man, this is going to be amazing. I love it.
I played the whom?
What?
So he's a sword. Oh Lord, a sword now. Okay,
Gunplay
okay,
uses the sword.
okay, okay. I mean, I was told that the pen is mightier than the sword, so obviously it makes sense. Somehow, it makes sense. We'll go with it. We'll go with it. Okay, everybody ready?
Mhm.
Okay, so as you guys can tell, yes, we're talking about guns, and especially in light of the last few news articles I've read and hearings about pretty much innocent people are getting shot and one person unfortunately killed as a result of somebody's irresponsibility as far as using a firearm.
Mhm.
And with me personally going to a CPL class and listening to what needs to be done prior to drawing out your firearm, a lot of these cases, you don't see that happening. It's like it's the first thing to go to. It's like, no, it shouldn't be the first thing. That should be the last thing you should do. You have to fully assess the situation and being it is what's happening really going to be a life and death situation. And what comes out of especially with this last past few weeks, a lot of it was just simple mistakes, simple misunderstandings, and so it's just very hurtful as a. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. We're gonna talk about that too, Craig. We're gonna talk about that too, and it's just it's really like I said, it's really disheartening, especially as a gun owner myself. And whenever the state of Michigan finally decides to get its act right, you know,
Uh-oh.
Uh,
Looks like there's.
uh, yeah.
Oh no. Okay. It's all
Yeah,
right.
he's coming back though.
When the state of Michigan gets their act together, and then they just censored him.
Yeah, right.
yep, you will not censor me. No, not today. So what? Once Michigan decides to get their act together, I will be a Michigan CPL holder, and that allow me to carry. And so that's pretty much. I'm just actually waiting on my license that's just to come in, and it's been past the 45 days, and talked to the county clerk, and they figured out there was a glitch that happened in the system, and so they're like, yeah, we'll get it, make sure we get it out right away, and that way I'll be having it probably by so I'll probably have my license sometime this week.
Okay.
I mean, you're not wrong, Chad. You're not wrong. It's funny, but not wrong. But yeah, so we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna dive in, and we're gonna have this very much uncomfortable conversation, and especially with one in particular, where the latest mass shooting that involved a particular type or a particular style of full whatnot. It's just it's just bonkers. It's bonkers, and again, it's this is one of those things where like, yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty about it. You know, debunk a lot of the false narrative that's been Yeah, right, Rocky. Right,
Yeah.
Like
right.
I'm wondering if
You know.
like if this kind of stuff is just like what's like, it's one of those things where it's okay, like this kind of topic is hot, so we're gonna share every single instance where this happens, and it's like one of those things where it's like if this is like something that's actually this common, or if it's just like what's hot, like
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that basically from some
or
of
if
the
it's
coverage
both,
I've seen and some of the speculation, that's the Hillary Pizza place. Oh no, the ping pong comment or whatever the heck, comment ping pong. But yeah, I think it's probably happening. Just sadly, it is probably happening. I mean, maybe not all of those kind of crazy instances where it's like a girl was shot, but I mean, I don't know. I think stuff like this does happen. Like there are terrible incidents where stray
Hmm.
bullets hit people in Milwaukee and Chicago, and like those don't always get national coverage, right? And they hit like kids who've died from this, and some of them do get national coverage, a lot don't. So I feel like there are probably some crazy instances that just get chalked up to neighbor disputes. You might get chalked up to like road rage, where actually there was a bit more of I don't want to say a pattern, but they may have fit into this type of trope of like someone raging, or not even rage, it's more like fear. Like some of it just seems to be like I don't even know what's triggering some of these instances, but I do think that there like this can't all of a sudden have just happened now, and like all of it was so like distinct, right? Like you had Ralph Yarl, a black guy being shot by the really really old white guy. You had someone who looked like a Latino guy shoot. One cheerleader was mixed race, one was white. Then you had like the white girls who got shot, or they actually might have been the ones. Yeah, I think they were both white. The ones in upstate New York who got shot by a white homeowner.
there was like the one where like the little girl's ball was
Oh,
like got into the neighbor's yard, so she went to go grab it, and like the neighbor like I think like shot at her or something
yeah,
like that.
she got
Yeah,
Hmm.
shot. I think
like
it's
that's insane.
yeah,
Like
that one was really crazy too. And it's like, I mean, that guy may have already but apparently had a warrant for something else. And it's just like no one really knows like are these things always happening? And now it's just like a little bit more high profile, kind of like when the weather balloons were seen. It's like okay, these have been here, but now we're just gonna like we're gonna tune to search for them more. So it's like is there more sensitivity to some of these instances?
oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, after the first spy balloon, I mean, I don't know. So people were even claiming that that wasn't a spy balloon. But after the first balloon was found, all the other objects that were found like the next week in different places,
Oh
those
right.
objects apparently like there could have just been a bunch of them all the time that we were missing, but we just didn't have a sensitivity to search at that low altitude. And those ones were not ever really identified very well because they weren't called spy balloons. They weren't called property of other countries. It was just, oh, there's three objects and we're going to shoot them down because we don't know what they are. And apparently these objects could have been existing this whole time, but we just didn't calibrate to look for them. So now it's like maybe we're calibrating also in some way where like certain news will just like strike. Like, I don't know if it's spreading on social media first. I don't know where it's like getting viral, but I don't remember hearing of a lot of these type of instances. Like you have the kind of regular shootings. I hate to say it like that, but like whether it's the workplace or like schools or like other kind of just random, more so random shootings, but to see things where it's just like someone like accidentally. I mean, even there's one that I just saw today. This one was a little bit more tricky because I guess there was like it's funny. I think Rocky, you said something about DoorDash or Pizza Hut, but literally like last night, there was a DoorDash driver, a guy and a girl who at 10 p.m. showed up to someone's house. And I guess there was
I think it was the wrong address. I think.
yeah, it was the wrong address, like across the street from where they were supposed to go. I guess the homeowner sent out their okay. The story doesn't even make any sense because the homeowner sent out his 12-year-old son to tell the car to leave, and I guess when the car tried to leave, they hit a boulder. And the homeowner said, "Oh, the car's driving erratically and trying to run over my son or something." So then he came out and shot. Thankfully, like no one got hurt inside the car. The car was still movable, so they were still like able to drive away. But like I guess the homeowner also called the police. The car must have been nearby, so they kind of just like maybe they're probably pretty shaken up. So they were like somewhere nearby. The police came to them, The girl who was in the car was like very distressed and crying. The guy, I guess like the police took his gun, but then they returned it. He wasn't put under arrest. So it seemed like a bit more of like, I don't want to say he said, she said, but in that case, it was like, it wasn't like, it was still random, but there was at least one interaction beforehand.
Okay.
Kind of ish, but not really. It's just weird because it's like you send your 12-year-old son, but then you fear for your life that the car is going to run you over. So then you go out and start shooting. Like you like start getting off your property, or at least like you go down the driveway and start shooting at the car. It was actually really strange. And they didn't release the name of the person because he wasn't under arrest. And the police said they closed the case. Like the case is closed. So Lord knows what's even happening with that.
Right. Because I mean, another thing is like what ends up happening is like reporters, they get to a scene or something, and then like the only person they can really talk to is the police, so they just have to go by the police's word. And sometimes the police aren't the most honest people, or they just kind of give you something to just kind of chew on, and then that's ends up kind of being the story. So I did want to highlight something that Rocky said about like this could be happening more than usual, and he's like, I want to be surprised if they actually cause each other. But like it may be always like underreported by the news, because now we're hearing about things all over the country, whereas like there would be like certain like local things, especially like in South Florida, where like or just Florida in general. In fact, I think something like this did happen in Florida like yesterday or so, like where like person accidentally does something and then gets shot at. It's like, man, these people are crazy. Like honestly, like when I say this and think on it now, like this is like a kind of a common, not like common, but it's not unheard of. And it's like, but it is just really crazy. And I'm glad that it's getting the attention, because it is insane. Like
Yes.
like what Gil was saying here, like, are these people just trigger happy? I think so. Like, it's just, I mean, of course, like I can't put myself in the heads of these people, but like, I don't know if like news was just particularly scary that they've been listening to, because like that definitely happens where, like we think things are worse than they actually are.
Right.
It's like you can go by like data and statistics and be like, well, this is actually the safest society has ever been. And it's like, right, but like you still hear about these things and it still, understandably scares you. Like, that's why like stories have a better and bigger effect on you than numbers. Because like we all have, like we all know somebody that, or like has heard of a story where like something crazy happened to them when they, did XYZ, or ABC happened to that person down the street. And, and it's like, oh my gosh. But like when you look at it on like I guess like a wider lens, it's like, oh, this is actually was just like a 1 in a million or 1 in like 100,000 like situation. It's actually like quite rare, but it's really hard to just like think of it in like those kinds of ways. So like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm glad it's getting the attention it deserves, because people shouldn't be like super trigger happy when it comes to guns. Like people shouldn't just be like, itching to shoot somebody. But I understand like people are like living in fear, but I guess like realistically, people don't have to be living in as much fear as they think they are. But it's like I guess we just have to be cautious and like, I don't know, like really process the situation. Like for example, like the girl with the ball, like come on, like that's the most like quintessential like symbol of a child playing. Like when they say like when you see like this traffic signs that said like slow down kids at play, it's like a picture of a kid with a ball,
right?
So like if you didn't speak any English, or you didn't speak the language of like whatever neighborhood that you're living in the United States, and you saw that picture. When you think of like a kid at play, like it's like, okay, you can actually process that and understand that. So it's like if you see a ball and a kid come up to the ball, it's like it's obviously that's what's happening. Like it's like
Right.
it's like you've never seen this kid. I can understand if like you've been living in the neighborhood for years and you know everybody and like you've just never seen this kid, and there's been like reports of people using like their kid to like rob houses, which is like a thing that happens, like not so much here in the United States, but sometimes in like other countries. Not like, but I feel like I'm just kind of ranting, but like it's just, I don't know, like people, like I do feel like people are trigger happy, and it's terrifying because it's like not everyone should just have a gun, and if you're gonna have a gun, you got to be like responsible and learn and really know how to utilize it, because you can't just like, I think that should be the last resort. Like with is it Ralph Yarl?
Yes.
Like the old man couldn't just like ask like who, like they're like, who are you, like what's going on, like he said he thought he was breaking in because of like like the screen door. He was trying to open the screen door, most likely to get to the actual door to knock or like ring the door, like try to like maybe he's like, oh, maybe they couldn't hear me or something, like, but you really couldn't just go to the door and be like, who is it? It's like, oh, is so and so here? It's like, I'm here to pick up so and so. Are they here? It's like, no. It's like, no, wrong house. And then he would have been like, oh, okay. And then he would have just, I don't know, probably knocked on the other door, or he probably would have rechecked the address. And it's like, oh, my bad. Like it could have been something like so simple. Like I've had people
Right.
just like knock on my door before. Like, just the other day, like my neighbor rang the doorbell. I had no idea who was coming over. I was like, who the heck? Because I don't know. I feel like us as millennials, we're really upset when people show up with unannounced. But it was actually just my neighbor, and she just wanted me to like, just like, keep an eye on her place in case anything happens because she's going to be out of town. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, but I wasn't like, like that's why peepholes exist, or like, that's why there's usually like a window or something next to the front door so you can see who's outside. Like what a concept. Even if you live in a situation, live in a home where you could just talk through the door. Or you can just not answer the door.
Right. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. But yeah, and rant. Like it's I don't know, like it's just very disturbing and frightening.
No, you're good because a lot of what you were saying, it reminded me of my training for me to get my CPL. And the
Mhm.
one thing that the instructors always said was, before you use your firearm, you have to address the situation, rather quickly. Like, is my life actually in danger? If there's no immediate threat, then you shouldn't be quick to draw your firearm to protect yourself because you're not in immediate danger. Now, if someone is acting kind of weird and shady, and you kind of get the hair standing on the back of your neck, like this doesn't seem right, the
Mhm.
one thing that it was taught was you leave the situation, point blank, period. You leave, because for you to take someone's life, especially if it wasn't deemed necessary, it's going to have huge consequences. And especially if you can't prove that your life was in danger at that point in time, yes, you're really going to have huge consequences. And so, they said that you have to adjust the situation. you have to respond accordingly. You know, we'll take Jarl's case for an example. You know, the kid knocked on the wrong door. Like that shouldn't you. The kid knocked on the wrong door. Okay, the least I would say, hey, how's it going? Like, do you need help? You know, because again, he was looking for his brother and sister. He was picking them up. He got to the wrong door, and so it was like, okay, you know, you made the wrong mistake. You got the wrong house. No big deal. You know, and even then, because I was reading the news article, he actually rung the doorbell. The kid rung the doorbell. So it's like, okay, he's not breaking in. He's ringing the doorbell. And so
Right.
obviously he's just trying to figure out where his brother and sister is at. And to get greeted by a bullet, that's not cool. That's not
Mhm.
cool at all. You know, and even then, you look at the case of what happened in upstate New York, where of course, you know, group of friends, they're looking for a party and they pull into a driveway because they're at the wrong house. Okay, cool, great. So most people who get the wrong address they bypass it, pull into the nearest driveway to turn around and go back. I do it all the time.
Yeah, I've done it so many
And
times.
and for the dude to come outside yelling and hollering and screaming and acting the way that he did, and then proceed to shoot at them with the girl actually dying on the way to the hospital, you know, that's jacked up. That's
Mhm.
extremely jacked up. And the one thing that's been coming under fire a whole lot more is the stand your ground clause or the castle clause, which again Florida has it, Michigan we have the castle clause. I know Colorado they have the stand your ground clause slash castle clause as well, where basically yeah,
Mhm.
I agree, I agree. And so the thing is, if you are on your property and you feel threatened by any way, shape, or form, you have the right to defend your home, your property with lethal force. And that's also including deadly force. In that instance, again, there was no need because he's trying to say, oh, they were breaking in. No, they had the wrong address. They just backed out. And I'm
Right.
thankful that what'd you say, El?
It's like right, because like who would be breaking in to a place that they're leaving from and never entered? Like,
Right. And again, makes no sense. Makes no sense. None at all. And then with the case with the cheerleader, you know, again, wrong car. That doesn't give you grounds to shoot somebody. You know, no, 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 no. And again, as a gun owner, it it I'll say like this, it really does piss me off to the point where a lot of these people are acting very irresponsible, and it almost seems as though they only get a slap on the wrist. It's like, no, if you're going to charge somebody, let's say if they were drinking and driving and they killed somebody and they're pretty much about to get the max sentence or close to it, you should do the same thing for gun owners who are irresponsible with their firearms. Same thing, you know, whether they are concealed carry holders or whether, you know, they're able to open carry, there should be harder consequences because of that. And even then, again, going back to what I was
mm.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought he might have dropped off. Okay.
Yeah, that's never happened to
yeah,
me. Go. I don't know if I highlighted
That
too.
actually almost happened. There was like a few weeks ago when I was out. It was a Wednesday night. I think people thought that my car was Uber because they were approaching the side, and I was like, hello? And there was like, oh wait, no, you're not this person. I mean, there's times in general someone may have thought I was an Uber, but they really like were opening the door. I was like, excuse you, can I help? And they're like, oh wait, no. I mean, I don't even know if they really apologized. They just kind of like closed the door and went away. But it also wasn't really threatening. These were, it was a very well populated part of Boston. It wasn't like, oh, these are just only two people. There's other people on the street. It was Wednesday night, so it wasn't like packed, but it was definitely people around. Two women. I mean, could they have been looking to rob our carjack? Sure, that's happened, but I wasn't really worried about it. And it's just weird because that happened maybe a week even before these incidents, and I just thought of it now. But I'm like, wow, there are times where it's like, I could have been in this position on either end. I mean, I've literally backed into someone's driveway. I've done a 3-point turn in someone's driveway when I needed to. I don't know if I've ever pulled up to the wrong house per se. And then there's times where I've definitely thought someone's car was mine because it was similar make, model, or at least same color, kind of looked the same, was in a similar area. But that was just like, oh, oops, okay, that's not my car. Thankfully, it's never been a point where someone else has seen me try to get into the wrong car. But even like some of the comments in some of these like YouTube videos or places are like, why is this all happening? Like, I've never done this before. And it's like, many people have done this before. And it's kind of not the point. Like, if you haven't done that, that doesn't mean people deserve to get shot for it. I mean, which they'll, of course, say, oh, that's not what I'm saying. But it's like, I think that's not the point of the conversation to say, like, I mean, maybe unless they're trying to make a bigger conspiracy that these are like incidents that are being planned. But I don't know. I haven't quite seen people go to that level. But I imagine that's definitely like, I've seen someone say CIA. I was like, okay, I don't think the CIA is planting people. I mean, listen, agencies do what they do, but I'm not trying to go to that level of tinfoil currently.
Right.
For less.
Yeah, I've always saw. I mean, no, thanks, Rod, because I've always saw guns as like a last resort thing. Like I thought, like, because so like the whole like stand your ground thing. It's like, oh, I was in fear of my life. It's like that's so vague because it's like you're pretty much just saying like you were like very scared, and I understand like I don't know like you still gotta like I don't know think things through logically, you know.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And even now, it's like, okay, you're fearing for life. Okay, like, so what caused you to feel like, what were they doing? Like, did they have a knife? Did they have coming at you in a menacing way where you couldn't escape? Like, and even then, could you have escaped? And I know here in Michigan, with our gun laws, it's super strict for that very same reason, because the instructor, who was a retired police chief, he basically put it like this. He's like, the reason why Michigan has probably one of the stricter gun laws in place, due to the fact that they don't want just any old person out here in the streets just carrying just for whatever reason. They're like, no, it's put in place to protect not only the gun owners but also the innocent people themselves as well. And so they're going to ask you these questions like, could you have escaped? And if you could have said yes, then the next question will be, well, if you could have escaped, then how come you didn't escape? If you could have the option of running away, how come you didn't run away? So now it's going to paint you as very irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree with what Chad was saying. Yes, yes, I agree. Which
Let's highlight it again. There's a bloodlust in this country. The laws are being warped, and the politics towards punishing "quote unquote" criminals with death. And loose gun laws allow them to do it without the extensive court costs. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
I don't know.
agreed.
Like this country is so weird. It's like, are they trying? Are they trying to like with? I feel like whatever. I'm gonna talk like I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm speaking through my dreadlocks right now, just sounding like a earthy woo woo chick. But I feel like with like the food, the easy accessible food
Bring
is
it.
like trying to kill you. Like the medical industry, the healthcare medical industry is trying to kill you, or just like keep you alive just enough to make money.
Mhm.
Guns, like loose gun laws, trying to kill you. Um, like reversing Roe v. Wade, trying to kill you, like or like
Mhm. Mhm.
really trying to keep you poor, which is also trying to kill you, because you
Yeah.
know like if you're impoverished, you're more than likely not going to live as long, and be resort to criminal activity and more likely to be arrested or die. Or so it's like, what is this country trying to do? Like it's like they don't realize that their best asset is their people, and you need to have like a healthy population, a knowledgeable population,
Mhm.
and like yeah, just a well taken care of population. Like you see it across the board everywhere, like in different countries, and it's just like, what is this country trying to do? Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like I understand that they're trying,
Right.
like I get like they're trying to in a way like keep us like pretty much just like at the brink of fully destroying ourselves. But like sometimes I feel like we're past the brink, like if they're trying to force us to have children, um to kind of keep a lot of women and families impoverished, because that's what will happen for a lot of people, because babies aren't cheap. Like even if you have like a beautiful happy natural birth, like you still have to pay money to the hospitals,
Mhm.
which is a lot. Like I can't remember how much it was. Like it's a couple thousand. um, and then like if you're impoverished, you're more likely to go to jail. And then I understand it's like, okay, that's like the prison labor, which will line the pockets of certain people and politicians. And then like, is that really all that they're trying to do? Like this is so bizarre. Like, and it's like, and I feel like when you get to that age, when you realize like a lot of these problems, these big problems can be resolved so quickly. Like, but we just have like the worst people in like positions of power, and they keep like shoving out propaganda to make it seem like this is normal when it's not. Like it's just, and like lies, like shoving out propaganda. Well, that's lies too, propaganda. Yeah, the
Mhm.
Cosmos are trying to kill you. Like it's, yeah, it's insane. Like I don't know. And like we're like so stressed out, we're so much at the brink that we're fighting each other when we shouldn't be. And I know that like I feel like it's the most like hokey thing, cliche thing to say. It's like, oh, we're fighting each other, we shouldn't be fighting each other, we got to find like the real enemy, the real. And it's such a cute thing to say, but like we really do have to like keep our eye on the ball, and we also have to agree what the ball is. And we're just having like, we just can't do that. It's just frustrating. Like it's just absolutely frustrating. Like anyways, yeah.
No, you're good. You are good because I was while you were talking, I had pulled up an article over the weekend specifically um for this topic, and one of them was one of my favorite European countries, which I want to visit, was Switzerland. and and how out of their 8.3 million people, 2 million are gun owners. And even then, with 2 million people being gun owners, they
I did hear about that. Like, I know that The Daily Show did something like where I think it was like Jordan Klepper or Michael Costa, I think, went to Switzerland and, shot a
Mhm.
couple of rounds and everything and, talked to them about like, like a lot of them have guns and, like it's like pretty much like no gun violence.
Yeah, literally, and even then, like, I was also reading like how, to kind of curb a lot of the mass shootings and even a lot of the murders for that fact of the matter with firearms is they hold competitions for kids ages, what was it, 13, 17, to participate. And so it's like they're going to have their hands-on experience at shooting a gun. And even then, by the time they turn 18, it's mandatory that they serve in the armed forces. So from there, and they already have the training on how to use a firearm. So between 18 to 34, it's mandatory. No ifs, ands, but in the armed forces in Switzerland. Once you complete service, you have the option of keeping your service pistol in or rifle, or two, turning it in and buy your own. But even then, you still have to get a permit in order for you to purchase a pistol and or firearm. So they're taking a lot of steps to actually, get it involved. They take steps to make people actually think about, hey, if you're really considering owning a firearm in Switzerland, there's steps that's going to be involved. And sometimes those steps, a lot of people, they don't want to do it because it takes too long or it's too much. But if you go go for it, and even then, I mean, uh, I can see unconscious losers just kind of like waiting at the end of the night to get their lick back because they lost ungratefully. But rather than taking their loss as a humble L and just going back to try it another time, they're going to figure a way to, get that person the most gruesomest way. I can say a lot of things goes wrong. Oh yeah. Oh, and again, probably right. And
Oh, Ron, you're breaking up. So the
what's
Hunger
up?
Games are. Ron? Yeah,
And
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Uh, still kind of, still, yeah, you're still kind of warbly. Oh boy. Yeah, no, they're trying to censor Ron. Stop it, Michigan.
Also back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breaking up. Oh no,
Yeah.
not breaking up. Is Ron breaking up with us?
No, he decided to part ways. He was just too good for us, Toby.
Oh no. Well, it's also too good. This Belair Lux. Oh, it's mirrored, but Luc Belair Rosé. This black and pink bottle that someone gave 2 weekends ago. Finally finished it.
Oh yeah, I know you had like several bottles to be drinking through.
Yeah, I mean, this one was a new one that was given as a gift, and I was able to drop 3 off yesterday to friends yesterday. One friend who took me out to dinner yesterday,
Okay.
which I was able to give her a bottle of like Pinot Noir, and then I had 2 other bottles of Carlo Rossi watermelon sangria. That one was big. Whew. It was like probably 1.5 liters.
Yeah,
It was
those are-
definitely bigger than 750. And then there was another one, Tesoro della Regina, also a rosé. And I was able to hang out with another friend later in the night, and we were drinking those. I basically just left the watermelon sangria there at her place, and then the other one was able to get finished, so it wasn't too big of a deal because it was a smaller bottle. Anyway, Ron hopefully will be back. I don't mean to detract from what is a very serious conversation.
Right. But oh, Toby, what are your thoughts on? I don't know. Pretty much what's just been going on in the news lately with. I don't know. It's like I don't know if I'm on like the wrong side of the algorithms, but I don't really hear of like like the good guy with the gun killing the bad guy with the gun. I know that it has happened. I know that it does happen. It's not like that it had never happened.
Yeah.
It's just I don't hear about it enough. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, probably like the Nashville shooting, the mass shooting in Nashville, or in Tennessee. I don't know if it was exactly in Nashville, honestly, but it was in Tennessee. I heard that that like some teachers were allowed to be armed, and so there were like some armed teachers, and like I think like there were like I don't know like police officers or I don't know. I could be wrong, but I did hear that. Like I did like read that briefly. So and like like this like apparently still happened. So like
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, no. If anybody knows, definitely correct me if I'm wrong, because it was unfortunately like quite a few weeks ago now.
What was
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't heard about. I mean, there could have definitely been a law that allowed that. The arming teachers thing is not something I hear about as much, but that was a big thing after was this Douglas? I forget the name of the school, the one that you said was close to
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one that's near me. Yeah,
that was basically right. That was when I heard about arming teachers. So I hadn't heard about what actual bills had been making it through the legislatures in different states. Like the ways that you hear about like all these kind of anti-LGBTQ bills, or you hear about like voting restriction bills. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened on the state level after Biden was elected. But I hadn't actually been hearing much about what I hear about gun was usually like loosening of certain laws, right? Like I think there were loosening of laws. I'm trying to remember. Texas was a big one, or even the police were like, actually, we don't want this because we know it's going to lead to a lot more incidents. I think Tennessee actually was similar, or maybe that's what part of what you're referring to. Like, I think there was just a loosening of Tennessee gun laws. I mean, now with what the person who bought the rifle, I mean, I don't know with what the laws were like in terms of what they've been able to buy it beforehand. I'm not sure, but I do know that there's like been definitely a push to loosen some laws, and there's like some blame, like maybe that's also leading to some of these other incidents. I know like the Supreme Court struck down the whole like concealed carry thing. So I think basically any state where they were like having restrictions on the carry. I mean, I think like even like bluer states, because that was a New York thing. So I think even Massachusetts and other states that had that specific restriction with concealed carry has kind of gone. So I don't want to say every state is now concealed carry, but there's way more loosening of who is allowed to carry. Like I think what it is that you don't necessarily need a license, or at least it's not as strict. So yeah, I mean, my thoughts overall, obviously it's all really bad. I mean, when it comes to carrying and stuff, people could talk about, well, maybe it's better to like be able to carry because of these incidents, but I don't know. I mean, people I think have decided that, well, they have this power and maybe they're looking for a reason. Even before all of this, I remember there was an analysis last year in Texas where there was a lot more things happening. I mean, think about Houston. I mean, that's a big city. Like, it's not just like, oh, these are far-flung rural areas. I mean, there's big, dense populations, and there was more issues like maybe Austin, like other cities where there was just like encounters at like gas stations or convenience stores, things that just didn't go well, and then people fired. And it's like, would this always have been happening if not for the looser sort of like you can carry anywhere? You don't need any kind of like license. You don't need any kind of certificate. It's a little worrisome, but at the same time, it's like, well, should I then, is it going to like cause more people to buy and be like, well, now I'm going to want to have a gun? And is that even a good thing? Like, this is a thought I had where like, what would have happened in these cases? I mean, it would have been, I'm sure things would have been much worse in a way if Ralph Yarl happened to just be carrying. I mean, he was 16, so I'm sure he couldn't, but like if he was a little older, or like if the age was whatever, and he was carrying, then it might be like, well, look, especially if he hadn't survived and wasn't able to tell a story. It's like, well, look, he had a gun on him. So I'm not sure if we, particular Black people or in general people who are going to be looked more at as suspects anyway. I don't know if it's to our benefit that we have, because, the NRA is not going to like stick up. Like when Philando Castile was shot, I mean, a lot of people did see that as really wrong, even people who are more conservative leaning, I think. But it wasn't necessarily a national outcry from the NRA that, hey, he was doing the right thing by carrying. He said the right thing to the police when he told them, hey, I have a concealed carry and my gun's in the thing. So I'm not sure, like, if even having the concealed carry is going to help a lot of us. In these cases, people might say, oh, Ralph Yarl deserved it. A gun on him. He really was trying to break in. Or if, like, I don't know, the cheerleaders had a gun on them and they were going to the wrong car. Well, clearly they were trying to rob them. Okay, you can't say much about the 6-year-old girl, but like, even the people who were like backed into the wrong driveway in upstate New York, even though they didn't make contact, they could have been like, well, they had guns on them. Maybe they were trying to scope it out, blah, blah. So I feel like in some ways, and this is speculation, like it kind of will make certain people who are victims look more like, guilty, as long as, I mean, it really depends like what the laws are. And if, hopefully that won't be like something that's admitted against their faith, against them. But I wonder, like, is it better for all of us to just be carrying or to own? Because I don't know if it would really help in these circumstances. Should we all be on guard? Because then what if you did respond? Like, what if you were able to get a shot off when the person shot at you, or you shot them preemptively because you saw them coming out with a gun when you were in their driveway accidentally? It's going to look really bad. Like, I'm not sure if it would have helped in these cases specifically, but that's something that was going through my head earlier, was like, would everyone having more equal access to guns, and like, I know Switzerland gets brought up a lot, that they have like, I don't know if it's compulsory, but they kind of require people to have some kind of training. And people often point to that as maybe that's what we should do, more of the pro-gun people, but I'm not sure if it would actually help in terms of like the guilt and sort of innocence piece of it. Like it could like, do you just assume everyone has a gun, and then, or do you now kind of put additional guilt and suspicion on people? I don't know. That's the teacher thing. I don't know. I'm looking at Rocky's comment, but that's a tough one too.
Right. I saw a stand-up comedy bit about like how, like the stand-up comedian, she was a teacher or is a teacher, I don't know, and like she was saying how like they're thinking about like arming teachers, and she's like, if they give me a gun, I'm gonna like rob a Staples because like they need school supplies and things like that.
Right.
And I was like, dang, like that was a solid joke, because it's like you're gonna give me, a Glock before like crayons. But what Toby was saying about you know, like especially like with looser gun laws and you know things of like um you know like everything going on in the news, it kind of goes back, you know, I wanted to reiterate my point about how, you know, stories are more like, I guess, action driven. Like, you know, they definitely drive more action and like definitely have a bigger imprint on you than numbers. Because it's like, man, if we have all these guns here, maybe I should get a gun. And, you know, like, cause like who, like anyone could have a gun and, you know, all these things going on in the news, like, you know, like I back out and, you know, I put, you know, go to people's driveways to the reverse all the time. Maybe I should have a gun and like, but, you know, like as Toby was saying before, it's like how, and it's a sad, disgusting thought that I'm sure everybody, especially every black person has thought is like, how would the media spin it to make me look bad? Like,
Right.
you know, like I've had thoughts of like, you know, if I were to be killed by the police, like what they would say, and I'm like, I bet they're gonna bring up the fact I got an F in calculus honors that one time in high school. Like,
Right.
and then like some parts of the news will be like, you know, she's stupid. She got a, you know, she got an F. And the other side of the news, like it was calculus honors. Like, I can already like picture it because that's just how stupid this kind of crap is. But like, you know, like that doesn't. But like, you know, if I had a gun on me and like somebody, you know, killed me with a gun, it's like, how is that going to, you know, like, and it's a sad, disgusting thought. Like, it's like, how will the
Right.
media spin this? And like, you know, and will people be up in arms? Will people, you know, like, would just like chalk it up to the wind as, you know, like, we can't get upset about this particular thing if it's like selective outrage or something like that. It's like, you know, like, it's just a sad thought. Like, it's you know, it's a sad possibility. Like, we're all just trying to live. Like, I don't have any issues with like gun owners. I just have issues with irresponsible gun owners. Like,
Right. Correct.
you know, like what y'all were saying about Switzerland, how they have to, you know, be trained. Like in the Second Amendment, it does say like, you know, you have to be like a well regulated militia, I think, which a lot of gun owners aren't.
Agreed. Yes.
So it's like,
Agreed.
you know, it's like, I don't know how politicians and judges and I guess they're politicians too, like how they pick and choose semantics because if you need to be part of a well-regulated militia, which is, you know, like what, you know, was the Black Panther Party, you know, like when Huey P. Newton, I think, where like, you know, it's like, yeah, there were, he knew the laws, like he knew his stuff front to back. And so it's like, yeah, you can't really say anything, but then, you know, Governor Reagan was like, yeah, we're going to make them the most, you know, hated group and like like make them the biggest thing. That's like the biggest issue. And then now California has, you know, very strict gun laws because Black people were exercising their rights.
Right. Right.
But yeah, like it's I don't know, like there's no right answer. It's just you got to do what's best for you and you know your loved ones. Like, you know, like I think like you know, like I understand why people own guns. I understand why people also don't own guns. You know, like I've known friends, like especially guys who, you know, don't own guns and they refuse to date someone who owns a gun. You know, like they feel is that like either it's like they don't, and I get that, you know, because that's understandable. Also, you know, like how people may have grown up, they probably were, and they probably had like a crazy parent who would just like fling a gun around and or point it at them, and like now it's like, yeah, I want to be as far away from guns as possible. It's like I absolutely get that. I don't know. Like Gil said, a lot of gun owners are irresponsible. Like
True.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the
True.
thing. It's like, what's the? I mean, you know, you have the right, of course. So it's like, what kind of would be a test? Or I mean, you can still pass a test and do something stupid. Like, there's a lot of, I mean, just like with cars, right? So it's like, what can you really do to sort of be like, yeah, you're not responsible and you shouldn't have one? Like, what? Like, how can you like decide? Yeah, are you propense to shooting someone through your glass door? You're not going to own this. I mean, I don't know if these people had records, any of them. So, you know, it's not even like a case with domestic abuse or things like that. I mean, how do you kind of know someone's going to do something really stupid and reckless? I mean, some people were even saying, I think at first they were like, okay, well, the guy who shot Ralph Yarl, like, I think someone Lester was like 80 something, possibly. I mean, you look at his face, it clearly looked like, I mean, sorry, but like, you just looked at him and it's like, okay, whoa, this man's like kind of degrading. And so the other person in upstate New York is like, okay, well, that's like 65. I mean, it's not really that old. Like, you can easily think of, that's like a, you know, grandparent age on the younger side. And then the person who was in Texas who shot the cheerleaders, I mean, he was like 20 something. So it's like, okay, clearly it's not an age generational issue. It's not like you could say, well, they're losing their mental faculties. It's like, what, like, why did these people do this, and how do you kind of decide who's responsible, irresponsible? Yeah, there's really, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know if there is a solution. But I mean, you also kind of have like the heart and the culture. Like, why is this the way things are? How do you kind of like change, or at least try to start some kind of change? I mean, you had national protests after like George Floyd, and people were like, okay, even outside legislations, have these uncomfortable conversations, quite literally, and trying to have, you know, some kind of talk. And then there's like some topics where it's like, yeah, what can we do where we can like talk and try to like understand why things are the way they are, and try to have like a change of culture, a change of heart. Like, why, like, this shouldn't be this case where everyone's on edge all the time.
right.
I mean, even like clear like parking lots. I mean, a lot of those situations were not the most like dangerous, especially like the cheerleader one. I mean, that one's crazy. And even the upstate New York, like, it's like these people really shouldn't have been faring for anything. So it's like, why is that the case that is where people live in that constant fear or like rage or resentment or whatever it is? And I know some people in the comments were saying like here in our chat, I mean, like the hero complex, or they just want a reason, or I don't know. I mean, there's like a lot kind of even outside the laws of like, why is this the first response? Is this going to get worse if we loosen things more and everyone feels entitled to solve things themselves? Like their own little vigilante.
I don't know if it's like a hero complex or like a power trip. You know, because like a hero complex is like you're trying to save somebody. Like a power trip is like you're just exerting power over somebody,
Right.
like for your own like selfish needs.
Right.
But like, I mean, it's definitely like a multi-pronged approach as to how to solve it. You know, like it can. Okay, so like I feel like solved is incorrect. To make it better. Like, I don't think it's gonna 100% go away. It'd be awesome if it did. It's not like it's impossible, but like I don't know how the country and, you know, our news consumption and algorithms are set up. Then I doubt it. But I definitely think there's ways to mitigate it and lessen it, and, you know, making mental health, you know, more accessible, cheaper, if not free, preferably free, and like destigmatized. Because a lot of times, like, you know, I've been hearing like men on antidepressants is like, I don't know, like I don't know, internet podcasters will like make fun of them or tease them about that. I'm like, that's bad. You shouldn't. Like, there should be like, I don't know, there needs to be like a place for people, especially like young boys, young men, to just be able to, if they're going through stuff, be able to talk to somebody and not be judged. And that's just, of course, getting harder and harder, especially with, just everything and like, I don't know, just everything under the sun. Like paying people more, giving people like a better sense of purpose. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, like a universal basic income. I think I did mention it earlier. I don't know. I talked to a friend about it earlier today. So maybe I'm just blending in my conversations, but like having like just like some monetary like balance, just so you could keep your head above water, like not be working to the brink, actually have a social life, actually have time for like your hobbies and interests, or even like your side hustles if that makes you happy, like reading, whatever it is.
Right.
I personally feel like having like stricter gun laws, or just like much better, stricter training. So like I just find it weird how, I mean, we make it seem like, oh, like anybody can just willy-nilly get a gun, and I don't know, like as naive as this may sound, I do not know how true that is. I've seen videos where it's like, yeah, that seems to be true. I've seen and heard things that it's actually not quite as easy as it sounds, and like there's like certain things, but I do know it's not super difficult. Like for getting like AR-15s, like I remember I was listening to if you like, I'll finish this point real quick. So I remember I was listening to like Amanda Seales, like she was like, she has like stories on her Instagram, and she said something like, for people, like I think it was after a mass shooting, and people don't seem to realize, like she said, like people don't seem to realize, like if you just make something a little bit harder, how less likely they will just not do the thing. And like sometimes it really is just like it really does like prevent people from the act. And like it really just like kind of made me think, because like I was like thinking like like if these shooters like took a shower beforehand, like you never go into the shower thinking of the exact same thing you think of when you're coming out of the shower. Like like you might go in the shower like angry at the world and wanting to actually enact this terrible thing, then you come out thinking like like you haven't played Tekken in so long, and maybe you should actually get a PS5 to play Tekken. Like it's a very like like that being like, I mean, I know this is like a serious issue, of course, but like but that's kind of how some people are probably thinking and feeling, honestly. Like they could literally go from thinking about something negative, deadly, and terrible to just thinking of something that's just a little bit more positive, and like or just completely different. Like a lot of people fall into like these like incel, or just like these like black pill, or like spaces, like these very negative thought processes, like these miserable spaces, and of course misery loves company, and they don't realize that like it's very easy to come out of it, but it's also very difficult at the same time, because like your brain is just so wired and like habitually thinking of all these like very negative destructive like visceral thoughts, that you're not really thinking about going for a walk in the park. You know, like you want to be like, on your phone, on your laptop, like looking at like, on these forums and in these spaces, because it's kind of feeding your brain and thus feeding you. But like the thought of just like, going for a walk or like, I don't know, watching a cooking video and like just making a meal and like, or just doing something just slightly different can really just make you feel better and completely like trying to change your point of view on things. So like, yeah, so like, to wrap it together, it's like an elaborate way to say touching grass. Yeah, essentially.
Right.
I forgot.
Right.
It's, I mean, essentially, yeah. As Chad always puts it succinctly. Yeah, just to kind of just do something else, just something else, and then you find yourself like in a more positive mind space and brain space, and you don't really realize that can actually like tack on top of one another. Then you're not really like you're not in that space anymore. But yeah, Chad, just put it perfectly.
Right. Yes, he did.
Okay, thanks, Rocky. Yeah, because I've heard a lot of things like about like how easy it is to get guns, and also like how it's like not easy. Like I've heard of like the gun show loophole, I think it is called. Okay, like I've heard of
Yep.
that. I've heard of like I've seen videos of like a 13-year-old kid just getting a gun and like it's like they went undercover. I've seen like also like, but I don't know, like, but thanks for clearing that up, Rocky, because I wasn't. That's the thing about having different laws in different states. It just freaking confuses people.
Right. And pretty much to circle back to what you were saying, and also just to add on to Rocky's point. And again, it really does depend because there was an article I was reading as far as how the shooter in the Uvalde case, it was very easy for them to literally order a gun, well, pretty much to order like a AR-15 online, get it shipped over to a local gun dealer, and once everything was processed and everything else, they were able to literally walk out the store with AR-15 and ammunition to go with it. So it was a very simple process. And again, this is the state of Texas, and I almost want to say in the state of Texas, in order for you to own like a AR-15 or something similar, you 18. You only have to be 18 to actually buy a rifle like that. And so when you think about it in that kind of an age gap, you're like, okay, so you mean to tell me that at the age of 18, I could buy a semi-automatic rifle, you know, clear as day. Like, yeah, and even then, in Michigan, you have to be at least 21. But to get like a pistol, you could be 16 to get a pistol. To get a shotgun or a single fire rifle, you have to be 18. And then to kind of get like a what they call like a sporting rifle, have to be 21. So Michigan kind of got it right, but even still, then it's just one of those things where a lot of it comes with a lot of the gun lobbyists being in the pockets of our representatives to sway them to construct laws that fits the gun companies more so than the citizens. Like case in point, I was reading another article where they were saying where the the AR-15 style rifle was actually banned in the United States. And the thought process was because of the fact that for someone to uh-huh
That's a huge move.
whoops. Let's see, go back here. One example is hard.
Look, John, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
no, you're right. Yep, I can see that. And so again, at one point in time, the AR-15 style rifle again was banned in the United States. You couldn't get it anywhere. But because of the gun lobbyists and the gun manufacturers, they all basically banded together, say, "Hey, we're gonna make it easier, safer, quote unquote, to the general public, where we could go ahead and get that ban lifted." And so now that the ban has been lifted for probably over, we'll probably call it about a good 30, 40 years now, anybody could go and get one. And when you look at a lot of the mass shootings that's been taking place, it's been surrounding a lot of it really by the 15 style rifle. Okay, when is enough to be enough, and and when you think about it in those terms, one kid in my CPL class, he asked the instructor, again retired police chief, he said, "So what if I turn my AR carbine rifle into an AR carbine pistol? Is it considered a pistol?" And the response that the police chief gave, it made a lot of sense. He said, "A pistol is a pistol is a pistol." So what that necessarily means is this: a pistol is literally what it sounds like. It's a pistol, meaning that you don't have to configure it, you don't have to change it. It's what it is. There's no adding to it. You could probably add a scope to it. You could probably add a light. You could probably add a laser, but that's really about it. Anything like majorly cosmetically done, you don't have to do so. And because of the fact that it's smaller, it basically fits in the size of your hand, or you can find one that fits your hand. That, that's what a pistol is. For you to do any kind of major modifications to make it look, feel, so he was like, "No, that's not a pistol. It's not a pistol whatsoever. No, it's not. It's still what it really is. It is just that, again, with the gun lobbyists being in the back pockets of our legislatures, they've done broaden the term, the laws to make it fit almost like a one clause fits all. When in all actuality, it's really not. It's really not, and it just sucks. It really does. It sucks because again, a lot of these supposedly quote unquote responsible gun owners, they're not necessarily responsible at all. They're really not. And like I said before, you know, they need to be held accountable.
Oh snap! Crap. No, I agree with what you're saying. Many of these people really aren't that responsible. Okay, you're back on.
Yeah, man. So like I was saying before, and just hold them accountable. Like seriously, hold them accountable. And And even then, it was. I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of reading articles. You know, the one I guess pro gun website that I was reading, they were saying that the assault rifle isn't like the AR-15, AR-10, or any other variations of it, but is more so a like a light machine gun. I'm like, no, light machine gun is a light machine gun, meaning that it's not mounted to a turret of a tank or a Humvee or a Jeep. You know, you can carry it and still be okay. It's That's a light machine gun. An assault rifle in its own right, it is what it sounds. It is what it sounds. And to take away from it and saying no, it's not, it's like, yeah, it is. Like my handgun, the one handgun that I do have, I have two different size magazines. One's a 10 round, one's a 15 round. You know, at most I'll probably use the 10 round because of the fact that if I have to put somebody down and it takes, the whole magazine, then obviously I'm doing something wrong on my part. It shouldn't have to take that many. But for anything to have more than that, no, that's overkill. Completely overkill. Even my brother's semi-automatic shotgun, it takes 8 in his magazine. It takes like 8 slugs in his. And so he was like, you know, he should only need to use one, to as far as home defense goes. He only needs to use one. And he's good. For him to empty the whole clip out, he said he's doing something wrong. Let's see. Let me pull this up.
It's interesting.
Oh, social emotional learning. I think because I know we do that. I know we do that here in my school district, which brings another good point too as well. It's it's something that needs to be done, and especially if you have a lot of kids who have hot tempers and who really can't um, socially be around other kids without their tempers flying out or without them acting out. And so with social emotional learning, it what it does is one, it helps that person or individual group of people to identify their emotions as they are, display them in a more so positive way, but also at the same time, it gives them an opportunity to learn how to use their emotions in the correct setting. Because and again, I bring up a case in point. A lot of the kids that were on my football team, that's what they were. They were hotheads. They were constantly getting in trouble. They were constantly getting written up. They were constantly doing everything contrary to what they were taught to. And so I made it a point where, listen, I'm gonna get all these kids on one team and literally force them to work together, whether they want to or not, because that's how society is. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the best or if you're the worst. Like, you're gonna have to work as a team, and you're gonna have to put your egos aside in order for you to get the job done. Once your egos start flaring up, you're going to affect everybody on your team. And for a lot of the times, a lot of the kids, they loved me but hated me because when I went to go discipline, because people were talking, I made them run. I made them run until they wanted to throw up. Parents got mad, but like I told the parents, like, listen, you signed your child to play football. It's my job to coach them. I can't do my job if one, they don't respect me, and or two, they don't listen to me nor the people that are here to volunteer their time to make sure they get what they need to get done. And then on top of the fact, when we're having our games and they're playing sloppy as a result of not taking practice seriously, what more do you want me to do? You can't expect your child to play if your child is acting the fool. And I went on to say, and especially if they go on to the high school level, middle school level, the coaches they don't have to play them. Doesn't matter how good of an athlete your son daughter is. If your son daughter cannot keep their mouth closed long enough to hear what's going on, they're not playing. If they can't get their emotions and their tempers in check, they're not playing. Doesn't matter how good they are. They're not going to play. They're not going to start. And so the one kid, who I talked to today, he was like, "So do you think?" He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go play on so and so's team." I started laughing, like, "Oh, you don't like him?" He's like, "Why?" He's like, "If you thought I was bad, he is a tough one. He's a tough coach too. He coaches hard for a reason because he wants to make sure that the players understand that it's not just you on the football field, it's 10 of the players that's there with you. And if you lack the discipline to work together as a team, then you're going to fail together as a team. But if you work together as a team, you're going to win as a team. And even if you lose against a really good team, that's okay because you gave it your best shot." And so I told him, I'm like, "Yeah, there's a possibility that you will start, but at the same time, do keep in mind that the coach who you're going to be with, he coaches hard. He coaches way harder than what I do, way harder. So yeah, you may get that position that you've been eyeballing, but at the same time, if you act a fool, it's not going to be yours, no matter what you say or do. Doesn't matter how good you are." And so he was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, like oh yeah." All right, me and him, we talked, and there's kids where he wish he could have on his team because of the way how they play. He said, but because of the fact the way how he coaches, his coaching style is a lot harsher than other people. Not a lot of people want to go, but it's the most rewarding you can get. Yeah, yeah, and again, I would definitely. You're welcome, Rocky. And again, like I said before, I would definitely gear it. I would definitely gear it towards the students who are constantly getting written up, who are constantly getting suspended, who are constantly, missing out on a lot of stuff because of the fact they can't keep their emotions in check, especially if they're in a social setting. You know, and it starts at home. So it's supposed to start at home. Let me rephrase that. It's supposed to start at home, but for the most of us who have kids or who are around kids, the saying goes, "It takes a village to raise a child," and that's absolutely true. It is absolutely true. It really does take a village to raise a child, and if you're not able nor capable to raise such child, it's okay to ask for help and get different perspectives because that's what they're there for. And again, I'll end this point and we'll move on. A lot of the parents have asked me if I'm going to coach. A lot of the kids that I coached last season asked if I'm going to coach this season. Like, I don't mind it. I will. But at the same time, I just don't know what grade level I'll be coaching, whether it be fifth and sixth grade. I don't know. Whether it be third or fourth again. I don't know. I don't know whether it be flag. Again, I don't know. I really don't know. But at the same time, even then, just to push the envelope a little bit further, it could be a possibility. I may not be a head coach. I just may be assistant. I have no idea what's going to happen this football season. But I will throw my hat in the ring and we see where it goes.
Yeah, the SEL thing. I mean, I know it's a little bit of a side note, but I definitely think that's something that's like I heard it in the news last year, because parents were kind of making their rounds, activists or whatever you want to call them, kind of going to the boardrooms, conservatives who were like, we don't want our kids learning SEL. I haven't heard much about it since I saw like a Yahoo News article or some spotlight on it, but it's definitely something that should be more neutral, that of course has been highly politicized, but doesn't seem to get as much attention compared to like CRT and the like. But stay tuned, because I do think that kind of stuff in education is definitely a much needed topic. Public education and a lot of those types of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. So, as we wrap this topic up for tonight, first and foremost, wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners, to all of our viewers for tuning in. Facts. Facts, Rocky. Facts. Facts. You know, and even then, I look at it like this. I said I was going to say the last point, and I'll be done. But my son's girlfriend, she was over here, and she asked like, yeah, she asked like she asked him, what do you think about your dad coaching high school football? He said no, immediately, no, because he's been at my practices. He was like, he said, I like my dad to be my dad. He's like, for my dad to be my coach, I don't know about all of that. I don't know. But because, and again, like I said before, he's seen the way how I coach, and the way how I coach, I coach on discipline and what was it? It's discipline and excellence. If you can get those two down packed, there's no telling where you're going to end up going. But if you are not disciplined, you're not going to reach excellence no matter what you do, because you're not disciplining yourself to take the criticism to become better. And even then, because of the fact that I want you guys to not only just enjoy the sport of football, but I want you to go farther in the sport of football. Even if you go and you say, you know what, football is not my thing. Okay, cool, great. Or if you go to, high school level, you pursue it at college level, cool, great, awesome. And even then, if you take that into, the NFL, cool, great, awesome, go for it. Or even all the other new football leagues that are coming up that's not the NFL, like the XFL, or the Arena Football League, or the Canadian Football League. It doesn't matter. You go wherever your skill set takes you to. And if by me being that foundation for you is where you want to go, I'll count that up as a win. I'm done.
Coach Ron for the year, Coach of the Year, Coach Ron for just of the year. Personally,
yes.
Listen,
of the year. Insert anything of the year.
I mean, I had some good teachers. I'll put it like that. I had some good teachers. I had some good teachers. But again, the conversation doesn't end here tonight. You could carry the conversation over at the Discord, and even then, because me personally, because I am a huge advocate of anybody who is looking at, purchasing a firearm, getting a firearm, or just want to know the ins and outs. It's like, I've already been through the process. Ask me, use me as your resource. And even then, when it comes to you getting your concealed carry, again, ask me, free resource. Been through the class, and I'm taking online classes to kind of pretty much solidify a lot of what I've learned. So again, ask away. I'm reachable on Discord. And even if I don't know the answer, you give me some time, I will come back with the answer. And even then, like I said, free resource. Free resource. So, L, Toby, final thoughts?
Yeah,
Just be safe out there.
be safe out there for sure. My like last, I mean, I won't like start a whole new topic and conversation, but like the whole state by state gun law makes things interesting. And nationally, obviously, the policy is very like slow to move. Um, an interesting thing to kind of look more into. This is a little outside of the big scope of like the random shootings, but even just like a lot of the shootings you see in like violent cities that you hear of when you think Chicago and blah blah. I mean, people have floated the idea that neighboring states with looser restrictions kind of flow into the ones with stricter. I don't know. I have to look more at the research on that, but it doesn't help that everything's such a patchwork that state by state, it's just like you have to really know the laws, whether you want to be a gun owner, just knowing like what the environment is like. And I do hope there's some more serious research. People can get their lives together and kind of treat gun violence like Elizabeth Warren was like treated like a health issue. There's definitely people in the medical field who said like researchers who want to like do more research because obviously doctors are operating on people with gunshot wounds, and a lot of like NIH research and medical research could be unlocked, but there's like some kind of law that's preventing that. And so people who really cared about the issue, you could look at things much more broadly, see how things differ between states and nationally, and do more thorough research on like what is happening. But we as regular consumers, you just got to kind of be as aware as you can of the laws in your state, know what's going on when you go to other states. Obviously, if you're carrying firearms, traveling with them or whatever, knowing that's important too. But maybe that's a little bit more niche, but stay safe the best we can. And really glad we got to take a crack at this topic. Last time we talked about 2A was definitely like for real, you know, outside of like, oh, horrible shooting, let's speak on this thing. It was really like one of our first streams back in 2020. We had more than just the three of us. We had Fred the Felon, who was a guest, but we also had other people part of like the Melanated Council. There easily could have been 6 of us at that point talking about it. So, you know, it's like 3 years later, you know,
getting to the Felon's like a Nazi now.
Oh yeah, I was like, we gotta get too deep into like whatever's going on with him and what I've been hearing about him.
No, I gotta put it out there on record that like we know this. I'm not even gonna try to act. Sorry for just taking it over. It's like no, we don't play that.
Yeah, I know that you posted some things for sure, and you mentioned this I think a week or two ago, maybe even over the course of some of the past weeks. It's come up. I really have to look at like what, because I think I've seen screenshots and I'm just like, wait, I haven't gone down that rabbit hole, and it's like it's wild, like to hear someone fall, you know, or to show this to yourselves. I don't really know.
It's not allegedly. He was caught like in 4K.
And not the quote unquote allegedly.
Oh Lord! When I hear that, I think of Varric from Legend of Korra. Allegedly, allegedly, I did these things and tried to kidnap the president or whatever he tried to do.
Oh, Varric. Yeah. Oh, right. I love Varric.
Yeah, definitely the best character growth in the show, or at least one of the best.
I guess.
I just know people said that by the end of season 4, he was like one of the favorite characters. I don't think people really liked him when he was introduced in season 2. Or maybe they did. I don't know.
With that said,
Rocky brought up a good point. Rocky, I'm going to answer that in the Discord. You bring up a good point. Answer in the Discord. I'm going to answer that in Discord.
Yeah, no, that is a solid question, and it's true. Like, yeah, I think it's time for us to wrap up this live stream. As always, it's hard to say goodbye, but we must because we got work in the morning. As always, it's always amazing to come on here and hang out with you all in the chat. You guys are absolutely amazing, wonderful human beings. But as always, you can catch us in the Discord if you'd like to, hang out with us even more. But next week is a new month, if I have my math correct. And with a new month is a new topic. So this will be very, very exciting. And as always, definitely put any suggestions in the ideas and feedback channel in the Discord. We saw one from President Manny earlier about President Robert F. Kennedy running for office. That is definitely something I would like to hear about more and talk about, which just like the upcoming presidential election. Like maybe we could talk about that. I don't know. We could talk when it's closer to towards when more people are announced. But yeah, definitely if you have any ideas on what you like us to talk about, definitely share. It may not be on a particular we may not get to it the next week, but we'll definitely get to it. So, but yeah, if you ever come up with an idea, just write it out in the Discord, and we definitely keep note of that, and we really appreciate you all for coming on every Tuesday and hanging out with us, talking with us. We love hearing your perspectives on everything. So yeah, with that said, we gotta take the stream to a close. All right, bye. Y'all, we love y'all.
Bye. Love you guys.
Work in the morning, allegedly.
Good night.
Night,
Good night.